Salt.
Fella done me wrong. He's also a huge dork.
I don't trust men who smile too much. Good, honest hatred. Very refreshing.
And welcome to Nerd Fights Wednesday.
You can't hear me, can you?
No, we can actually hear you.
Oh, God, thank you. All right.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you too.
So I'm sorry. This is extremely unprofessional. We are doing sound checks. So that was why we were late. My regular mic crapped out on me, but fortunately I have other mics, but I had to install software.
Well, it's funny.
Do I sound okay? Am I too loud?
Both you guys actually sound much better now. Jason's mic was messing up too.
Oh, so. I was all over the map. Yeah.
Okay. Whoo, man. So yeah, I know I kind of blasted this out to a bunch of my friends, and a few of them are in my chat, and I felt bad because I can't respond. So Jason, Boosh, Cece, baby. Hey, what's up? My buddy Steven Ryder. What's up, Steve? Where's Amanda at? Of course, my mom too. So, and then on your side, buddy, who's over there?
Well, I only look at the full group, so I don't know who's separated by side, but I see we got Thomas, we got Penny, got some idiot called the Dork Knight. We got Jeremy, we've got 47 Yorktowns, there's Steven, let's see, there's CC, of course, Donnie, Bradley, Boosh, Jason, the guy who smiles way too much, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. All here. So good to see you. By the way, I don't know if you caught it or not, Danny, because you were so busy messing with your microphone, but that was a new intro.
Oh, I did catch that. That was cool. Yeah, I liked the one you picked for me. That was good.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to find something where someone said the word dork, and so that was the only one I could think of.
I'm very happy with that one. So yeah, I'll take it.
Well, I was looking for something a little less nice, but unfortunately.
Well, if you go to if you get Kevin Smith's Mallrats in the intro, he does the credits as different comic books, and the Dork Knight is one of the comic books because they're all spoofs on different things. So I don't know.
But that would be too on the nose.
Oh, okay, well, fair enough. Yeah.
I was actually going to have try to do something with all three of us with Star Trek, but it didn't quite work right because I was going to have Dr. McCoy from Shore Leave be yours, Danny, where he was talking about how a woman needed her brave knight to protect her. And then, of course, he's immediately skewered by said knight. But everybody knows that Jason is the person who smiles too much.
Yes.
And I don't think there's any denying that.
I see you didn't shave, sir.
I did not.
I did. I have a goatee though. Before Jason gets on me, and this is a request from CC. Yeah. In fact, you call her this time, please, because I told her
chat, she can object if
it was board certified, right?
Yes, more like broad certified, but anyway.
Wow, I don't know if I would use that term,
but it could be a term of endearment if we're in the 40s.
Well, yeah, but we're not in the 40s.
Well, so is broad not
almost back to the 40s.
Well, hold up. This is news to me. Is that word offensive? Is broad offensive?
You really are like completely. I know drugs are a bad thing.
Well, no, I'm just curious because one of these wrestlers
considered a good thing.
Well, let me ask you this then. So on one of those wrestling shows, this chick said the word. She used the word. She called the fans a bunch of twats, and then she got fined for that. Is twats a bad word? I thought that was I thought that was a less vulgar way of saying.
It absolutely is a less vulgar way for sure.
But
I didn't think it was words. Like something.
That's like saying
fine worthy.
That's like saying that the S word is less vulgar than the F word. They're both considered profanity. Just because
yeah.
one is worse than the other doesn't mean that
Hey,
they're not.
I'm going off of the the ratings system that they use for movies and stuff. So
Jiminy Cricket.
there's tiers. there's tiers.
Yeah.
Well, if you go by the movie rating system, then the F word and the N word are the only ones that count. I mean, that's
these days. I suppose
I don't.
Everything is open season, I suppose, other than those two.
Yeah, I
mean, they've dropped the
else.
F bomb on Dynamite, and he got fined for it. But like you could and it happened 2 times that I know of. One was John Moxley, and one was this other guy who got fired. Actually, thanks for the if it comes out of my mouth, chance it's vulgar. That's great. Thank you. Yeah,
truth is truth.
Yeah. The only comeback I had to that was quite vulgar, so I self-censored, and I'm not gonna
So, and you know what a true master of language is someone that can make you feel bad without using vulgarity. That's a master of insult.
Hey, look, I even though
anybody can say F you.
Yeah, man. Even though I let stuff slip, here's my thing, and this is something I don't know where I got it from. Probably mom is in the chat; she can tell me. But I just cuss. I don't say it like with malevolence. I just I'm a cusser for some reason, and I do a lot better on your show. But like I cuss like a sailor, and I don't do it like I don't do like F you, man. I'll just be like whoa F, or things
right. That's actually a thing in Quebec with almost everybody from Quebec, by the way.
Oh, but okay. I think about
it's really weird. Like, so for me, that's probably half the reason why it goes off my back, just like nothing, just like water off a duck, because there's a lot of my coworkers are from Quebec, and if we're just myself and one of them, they can sometimes, you think you're on a Navy ship.
You see, like a well-written insult is something like in Con Air, when Cyrus the Virus, played by John Malkovich, looks at Danny Trejo, a serial rapist in there, and Danny Trejo's bragging about all the women he's raped, and he said, and Cyrus doesn't really say how
taking this to a dark place, man.
Well, no. I'm just saying he doesn't say how you're effing disgusting or something like that. He compares him to the bits of grit that accumulate underneath your nails.
Or no, it's the stuff at the corner of your mouth or something.
Oh yeah, and the stuff that it's like just little things like that. That's an insult.
Fair enough. How did we get on this subject anyway?
Because you're so
really not staying on target, and
all on target.
Yes, on target. Star Wars.
Speaking of Star Wars, we have some Star Wars to talk about, and boy, we actually have some Star Wars to talk about today.
Yeah.
Let's start out with our customary hot take. We need to have like a hot take.
Hot takes.
Yeah.
Like a little, yeah.
So somebody needs to come up with a hot takes like musical interlude, like
someone needs to do
why
some.
Did you just decide to go there?
Some B-roll recordings of saying, instead of saying hot pockets, say hot
takes. Hot takes.
All right. And so I guess we will start with the obvious hater of the group. That would be, of course, Jason.
Yes, the smiling sometimes shaven.
He who smiles. No,
that was some good misdirection there.
I'm kidding, of course. So Danny, what did you think?
I actually watched it 3 times. Well, okay, well, that's kind of not true. So I watched it at, like at midnight, and then I was processing it, and then I came back to what I was working on. And then I threw it on the TV over there while I was working on some graphics, because I can't write while something's on, but I can do my graphic work while something's on. And so I was doing this number the second time, and then by the third time I was really just listening to it. Yeah, I want to like it, man. I'm usually more positive. But this is just, it's crap. It's just crap. It's not good. If I wasn't doing the show with you, I would have stopped watching it like 20 minutes into the second episode, and I would be happier for it because I haven't really, just, last week there was like a little teeny tiny sliver glimmer of hope. And then this week, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Everybody, I'm
So
sorry.
as Thomas, it looks like I owe you $1.
Why? Why is that?
Because Thomas sent me a message earlier today saying that you would hate it.
Oh.
Because
On what basis? I'm curious. Like,
because it was good.
Oh,
that was
God.
Thomas's basis for you hating it. And so SBS Guru with a €5 super chat says all that money coming in from being a trade hub, and they couldn't afford one single lousy anti-air turret. Well,
Right.
I think we'll get into that when we get to the strategery part of the episode.
Strategery.
Yes. All right. So, Jason, did you hate it as well?
No, but they're starting to turn the show into the homework show. and it's yeah, I am enjoying it. I'm not super impressed with all of the acting going on, or the pacing, I should say, is probably the biggest issue. But I still liked it, and I really liked it because of all the things I know that this is signaling that should be coming down the pike here any minute. Although it's going to be one of those conditional situations where if they don't do what I want them to do, because that's really what the truth of it is, I am not going to be a happy camper, and this series could very quickly find itself hanging out in the neighborhood of some of the episodes, if not a lot of the episodes of Obi-Wan. Because
keeping in mind though that Dave Filoni is a big part of the creative force behind this.
Yes, and I can sense that, but like I can also see exactly why I actually can totally empathize why Danny is starting to fall out of even with this show at the moment, because the pacing is just all over the place. The story elements are good. The setup is good. The delivery is just not there. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. I've watched it twice, and there's lots of little things to like watching it twice, but I don't know. They got to really, they need to deliver what I want, or I will not be happy.
Well, I don't know what you want is, but I want to like this show.
We'll get into, because me and Jason talked a little bit while you were having your problems, and we both came to the same conclusion as to what we think is coming.
Okay.
And yes, Thomas, you are 100% right. Jason is one of those haters that supports the Republic.
So, hey, again, I hate to do this technical support question. I can't hear myself like I used to. Is that?
That's just a setting in Windows. You have to go into the advanced audio settings.
Thank you.
And then you go to the mic tab, and then there's a spot where you can tick off the
gotcha.
Hear myself.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so I will say this. I think both of these two have had a healthy dose of crack this week, because I think this episode was awesome.
You like this, but you don't like Picard. I think you're the problem, bro. I think you're the problem.
Because this, unlike Picard, is focused on story, not just member berries. There are a few member berries in it, but those member berries are actually subtle.
Okay.
And you don't, and for a lot of people, they don't even get them.
So tomorrow, guys, let's do this. Every time Mike says member berries on tomorrow's show, you got to take a shot.
No, I wouldn't recommend that because then everybody would die by the end of the show.
That's kind of what I was getting
because,
at.
well, it depends. Because maybe
Stop.
tonight will be the first episode of Picard that doesn't depend solely on member berries.
Well, I hate to say it, but like, yeah, there's a big surprise.
Well, don't try to drop spoilers, please.
Okay.
You're horrible about that. Don't.
All right. Yeah, right. I'm sorry.
But so the now look, I'm not saying Picard season 3 is a bad show. It's actually, I've enjoyed it a whole lot more than the last 2 seasons of Picard, and certainly more than any season of Discovery. But the show is solely dependent on nostalgia to carry it, not good story writing. There is not a good story arc in Picard. Now I will agree that now Mandalorian, I don't think either of these shows is flawless. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that either of these shows is a 10 out of 10 show. But and visually, both these shows are very, very different. So I'm not even trying to say, well, clearly this one looks better than the other, because they're both stunning shows in their own way visually. Although I do prefer the Star Wars current aesthetic to in my opinion, too dark current aesthetic of Star Trek, at least of the Picard aesthetic, because I think that I like to be able to see what's going on the show, and in Star Wars you can, especially, I mean, like having a space fight that is actually in a blue sky as opposed to a space fight that is in a muddled nebula, big difference. But we lost you.
There, you're back.
Can you hear me
your
now?
audio.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't lose it. I accidentally, this is a new mic. The
Okay.
mute button's on the top here. I accidentally hit the mute button.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But with the problem, I would agree with what Jason's saying. I think the biggest problem with Mandalorian is its inconsistent pacing as a series. I don't think this episode had pacing issues. I do think the series has had some pacing issues. But I think that Picard's biggest problem has been no story. It's just plot and just member berries. There's no story at all. And I prefer a story-driven, a story and character-driven concept than just plot points and member berries.
For sure. I'm going to have to just deal with it because it's given me this warning that because my device is currently in use, I can't change anything.
I would say do it while we're not online.
Yeah. It's weird not being able to
hear yourself.
Me. Yeah. So, anyway, I'll deal.
The sign of a true narcissist must hear himself.
Well, no, I just want to make sure you guys can hear me because, like,
we'll tell you if you cut out.
Yeah, no, it's working pretty good.
Yeah, so far, yeah. If your audio goes completely haywire, we'll let you know.
All right.
That being said, I think that I like the fact that this was basically the very simple episode problem setup that we got set up early on in the season. We knew about the pirate very early in the season. We had the exacerbation of what's going on with the New Republic, which was also set up in the horribly paced episode earlier this season. And then the payoff is Mandalorians come to the rescue. And half the episode was a battle that I think was very easy to follow and fun to watch. And that was my opinion on it.
There's your hot take. Hot takes.
Do-do-do. And tomorrow, the hot takes will be the dead opposite of today's.
For you, anyway.
Well, and for you.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Yes, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, actually,
like
you know what? That's
saying,
probably exactly
Picard.
correct. It'll be Danny and I that'll be just bathing in the berries, and you'll be throwing them out.
This mic is so weird.
So let's get into the actual doohickey here.
Is
All
that
right.
Is that an Elgato?
Yeah, the Wave 3.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're not going to get sidetracked with
No. I just because it looked familiar because it was on my consideration list. So yeah, it should work. It should work quite well for you there. Oh, you muted yourself.
This was just my backup mic, so
okay.
Because I actually do like the other one better, but it's not the cord because
it's the unit.
Yeah, there's something wrong with it. So
the Burns.
Yeah.
All right.
So we start out with Navarro, and this is what I was talking about as far as the general aesthetic. This looks very Star Wars. It's consistent with the Star Wars aesthetic overall, and it's very brightly lit, which is very contrasting to the current take on Star Trek. Everything.
Why do you gotta like lower one to raise the other?
I'm not lowering one to raise the other. I'm saying it's a contrast. Do you disagree? Do you think that Star Trek is not a contrast to this, as far as one is bright and one is dark? They are dead opposite, right?
It just kind of depends on where Mando's at, if you think about it. I mean,
well, when Mando's in the cave, sure, it's darker, but overall, when you look at settings,
hey, retro nerd girl, thanks for stopping by.
Mom. I'm just saying, when we look at general locations, when we look at particularly like ship interiors, all sorts of stuff, we generally in Star Wars they're trying to go out of their way to make it very bright. In Star Trek, they're trying to keep things in the shadows.
Okay.
And so they're planning out how they're gonna they're building up this capital city. And by the way, this goes to SVS Guru's earlier super chat. This capital city is still under construction, and so that's one of the reasons that I think this capital city isn't well fortified.
I mean, they're still building it. I mean, he just got this like last season, right?
Right. And they just liberated it from Moff Gideon last season, and Moff Gideon basically had it under the protection of his Imperial cruiser,
right?
And so this is and so now he's got to try to turn it into a spaceport. And yes, Arabic, this is a new chair, but I'll talk about that on Friday.
Okay.
Hey, look, a pretty castle.
Yeah.
Look, a squirrel.
Come for the Star Wars, stay for the
talk about the chair.
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out where they're going to put the Traders Guild and stuff like that. And while they're doing that, all of a sudden a big ship that we did see earlier this season shows up. And so what are your thoughts on the Corsair ship and this whole sequence?
I like the ship design, and it's kind of cool that it finally got its own specific starship classification, because it's some kind of a cloud name, Corsair.
Mm-hmm.
I forget right off the top, but I like the fact that it's kind of like a weird blend of, you got the
looks like Imperial tech.
Plus
it looks like a bird to me, it
almost looks
it kind of actually feels more like I was about to say, it kind of has more of a Star Trek feel, like this design does,
Yeah, it's like a vulture, maybe you could consider it, because pirates and thieving from
Yeah, there
dead
you
that
go.
they
Yeah,
create, or maybe there's
Yeah.
that kind of a theme to it. And
there you go. Okay, I
I,
can see it. I see it. I
yeah,
see it.
yeah.
Now, I'd be very curious, and since I can't quite do it with
I
the way
just
my setup is right now, um, would it be possible, Jason, to look up how long is that ship?
They don't have any data on it on Wikipedia.
Okay.
I'm already there.
Because I thought that ship class has been mentioned before, so I thought there was data out on that class of ship.
Unless it's someplace else, which I'm surprised it's not on the Wikipedia site yet. But yeah, we don't know how big it is. But I mean, when you judge it based on,
is there not a shot that gives it any kind of scale?
Well, we do. We have some shots where we see the fighters around it and stuff. But my rough guesstimate is that it's roughly the size of a Connie.
of a what?
Of a Connie.
Ooh, no, it's not that big. Because each one of those ball turrets that come out of those 14 ports on the ventral side,
See, that's the
are
problem.
only big enough to hold a single person.
But then we see those fighters that launch from the top, and those fighters look smaller than those ports that the ball turrets come out of.
Well,
And
I mean, the turrets are obviously,
yeah. So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
yeah. I mean, the turrets are obviously bigger than a ship, but I think they can only store 8 of those,
10.
10 of those ships on board in that bay.
Yeah, it was a
So,
10
Always
fighter.
Mercy, thanks for joining, says it looks like the end of a Viking boat or a hammerhead shape, but the middle is like Imperial. I can see that. Yeah.
I'm guessing that, because one interesting thing about Star Wars in the background lore of Star Wars is that there are different companies that
This is also a pirate ship too, right? Isn't this the pirate ship? Yeah, this is the pirate ship.
This is the pirate ship.
Yeah,
but that just means this is the ship that the pirates use.
Yeah, so it does to me. I like this.
It's not that the pirates built it. The pirates bought it.
No, they probably stole it. They're pirates. I mean, but they probably painted it, put these stripes on it or something. I don't know, like.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, I would guess that.
I'm surprised they didn't go all out and put like flags or some shit on there, like stupid decor.
Well, they definitely went all in with the pirate theme in this one.
Yeah.
But it feels very Imperial. Like it's the company that made this is the same company that made the Imperial class Star Destroyer.
Oh God.
So obviously, Apollo's not happy about what's going on. And not C-3PO is, advising that they get the heck out of Dodge.
The ugly protocol droid.
Yeah, they found like the rejected head from like pre-design or something from 1977.
Yeah.
And this guy,
Ape Swamp Thing. I can't remember. He's Pirate King something. I can't remember his name.
Gordian Shard.
Yeah.
A Gorian Shard.
Yeah.
I just call him the
Shard.
The angry
they just
salad
call him.
face.
I think they just call him Shard in this, but
they refer to him as Shard quite frequently.
And I'm guessing that whatever his species is plant.
Well, I don't know, but basically the dudes that Mando killed in last season, but he let the one guy go that's in this episode. Like he's like pissed that he killed his dudes or whatever, and so that's why he's saying. And then he was like, "Well, they shot first or whatever," and he's like, "And so will I." And and then I mean, I feel like whoever said that earlier. The first thing they should have did was put like some type of aerial defensive system in, or at least one turret.
But that was just like days ago.
Was it just days?
No, but
it was longer than that.
No, it's only like a couple odd days ago. Like
really?
Maybe a week at the most in the timeline.
Okay.
But even still, like, why would you just kicked the Imperial remnant out of your town?
Yeah.
And you didn't, at least put one poor guy on a ducka ducka.
Damn. So really, so that says a lot about Carl Weathers' character. Because if it's only been a couple days and he's already got a cape that's being carried by 2 droids, I mean, that's like,
Oh, no.
like,
Between the 2
he was doing that
seasons, there's a
before.
bunch of time. But the moment when he shot the pirate guy, and now
yeah,
that was at the beginning of this season.
was that? I thought
Yeah, that was
last
at the
season.
start of the season. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
See, this show
season
is so like
The pacing is off.
yeah.
And so, yeah, he is a weird looking alien, but I know some people hate what he looks like. Other people think he's cool. I fall on he's a weird alien and he looks like a Star Wars.
Clearly, I liked him. I put him on our thumbnail. So.
Well,
Matthew
I
calls
thought you
him
put him on the
Swamp
thumbnail
Thing.
because you hated him so much.
No. I mean, I'm not saying like I'm a fan of his. He
honestly,
he bites the dust at the end of the episode.
He looks like a side dish to me.
Nah, he looks like something in my imagination here, he's just like a swamp pirate. Like he just he just came out of the swamp and he's like, "Hey, matey, I'm gonna kill you and take your stuff." And yeah.
See, I kind of dig the fact that they have space pirates that are literally running around going "Arr" in the Star Wars universe now.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just think that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hokey, but that's fine.
And so then they start blowing the crap out of the city. Which is unfortunate.
Kronos says, "'Tis a pirate Swamp Thing."
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Well, he does look an awful lot like Swamp Thing's shorter, fat cousin.
Yeah.
And if you know who Swamp Thing is, you know who I'm talking about.
That's a pretty good, yeah. He's like the Blackbeard, the pirate version of Swamp Thing. The only thing he's missing is a peg leg.
Yeah. And we get chapter 21, The Pirate.
I might have actually liked this episode if they gave him a peg leg. I might have.
You never know. It just
he survives, and he gets like a Star Wars peg leg in the mix.
No, he was in the front of that ship when it ate shit, so he's
having a bad day.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in space Vietnam, we have
that's exactly what Matthew called it.
Yep. We have I can't remember, what did he call their squadron? They had a cool
that's
name.
why you should have
Delphi something or other.
Yeah.
He's part of Delphi squadron.
Yeah, Delphi, the Delphi Raiders, or Delphi something. But anyway, I'm horrible about taking notes, but that's because you're better about taking notes, but
I didn't take any notes for this show because I didn't like it enough.
Right, because you hate this show.
Well, it's not that I hate it. It's just I would rather watch. I still haven't got to see a single second of Poker Face, and I really want to watch that. But instead of watching that, I got to watch this crap. So I'm sorry, it's a little harsh. It's not crap. Just I'd rather be watching something else.
You do have plenty of time to watch Poker Face. Just don't watch so much wrestling.
Well, I have a wrestling show, so it's kind of like homework.
Oh well, boo-hoo.
Okay, stay on target. Stay on target.
So anyway, in Space Vietnam, we have the
Aravic over in my chat says that he thinks that dude looks like the witch puppet from Labyrinth.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Like if you covered, if you like, ate too much spinach and puked on her.
And
water warning.
Oh,
almost goobered on the mic.
I'm gonna have to. Never mind. I'm gonna have to. The reason I don't use the comments thing in StreamYard like y'all do is because I can't reply in there. So if I want to reply, I have to have these other 2 pop-ups here.
I actually have the 2 channels up separately because of my discovery last week when I accidentally impersonated Danny.
Oh,
yeah. Because if you reply in the comments in StreamYard, it'll reply as either me or Danny.
Yeah.
And hey, Alex.
Hey, Alex.
So, but I actually I keep the StreamYard chat up so that I can see everybody's chat, and
Well, that's why you never see the private chat, because I always keep it on the private chat.
Yeah, I can't see the private chat because that's the only way I can see any.
StreamYards needs to work on that. They should have like TweetDeck, like just do 2 columns. You know,
That would be
Yeah. Or like a high and a low, like top. and
actually, I'd
bottom,
like it
yeah.
if you could have
or
3
left and a
columns.
right. You know, I've got
Yeah.
space on them. You know,
I'd like 3 columns, so then I could have my like stay on target video in a 3rd column too.
That-
So I can click on that.
well, you should have that over in the branding on the right
Yeah,
side.
but you have to click on brand, and that takes you away from chat, and then you can click on your video.
That's
See?
right.
Yeah. Anyway, back to stay on target. We're talking about space Vietnam.
So
And-
Carson goes to Vietnam.
Yeah, and so one thing I think is interesting about Space Vietnam is that we get this guy here who has been on the Mandalorian all the way back to season 1.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Mando even references that in a little bit here.
Right, and so he was in season 1, he was in season 2, and now he's in.
He was in that Aliens ripoff episode.
Yes.
Yep.
And
He was one of the. Yeah, he was one of those guys. and he let him
He's
go.
been in a few episodes. He's kind of he's the one X-wing pilot he keeps running into. And so, but the funny thing, so he gets a call, of course, from Apollo Creed about what's going on, and he's like, "Oh crap, we need to help these people." And now this guy, man, this looks like a scene right out of Mass Effect.
I was
Right
about to
here.
say, yeah, this looks like some other form of science fiction. Like
It still felt like Star Wars, but it was
looks like something made by
it
Blizzard.
felt like a
Yeah.
Mass Effect, like that alien just felt like a Mass Effect creature.
Yeah.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think it was out of place. It just like I
Well, it
felt like
also like the look at this is me being overly critical, but look at the fur on the arms by the elbow to the forearms. It looks so fake to me. I don't know, just it kind of
Yeah, it was interesting that they decided to CG him in.
yeah.
and Mercer says he's a character from Rebels. I don't know.
Yes, and this is exactly where the homework aspect kicks in all
Okay.
over again.
Oh,
And-
cool. I give a shit. Ow.
Yeah, see, and the thing of it is him showing up in this, and this is where I got to bring this up. Like him showing up in this is actually a massive deal, but only to anyone who actually knows.
Well, then educate us, brother.
Well, but this is part of the problem with the pacing. So, you all right there, Dan?
I'm trying to be. It's like
Okay.
yeah. Anyway,
Oh,
just
you're
ignore me.
Okay.
He hates
So-
the show that much.
So Zeb is one of the main characters from the Rebels cartoon, and because Rebels ends off in season 3 and 4 with a huge amount of tie-in with Mandalore and with Bo-Katan and with another character that we are definitely getting, and they're going to be in the Ahsoka series. Whether or not we're going to get a drop of this other character, this
Thrawn?
Sabine Wren. Sabine Wren is the one that fought Gar Saxon in those 2 episodes that you did watch the other day. So if they keep dropping in people through Mandalorian, we're getting Thrawn.
Oh yeah, I mean, I already she's
But-
already Ahsoka's already mentioned Thrawn in her episode.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. So she's uttered the word. So Ahsoka is a big character, not as a primary, but throughout Rebels. Zeb is basically in every episode of Rebels. We already know that they've cast. They've already cast for Sabine Wren. We already know that they've cast for Ezra, who is the Jedi that disappeared at the end of Rebels, along with Thrawn.
So, hey man, you know how like you're at like let's say your wife or your girlfriend early on, because wife wouldn't work, takes you to like a party, like a work,
Mhm.
like a work. Let's say it's like a Halloween party, right? And you don't know anybody there except for your girl, right?
Yeah.
And they're all talking about people and using people's names, and you're kind of supposed to be in the circle of the conversation. They're just talking about people you don't know, and you can't really, you have like, and it's just like that's what this is like right here, man. I mean, I did ask you to tell me, but I just kind of checked out because you're just saying all these names of people.
But me letting you letting me go and me continuing to go on and run with it actually feeds directly into what I was saying earlier during the hot takes of, you know, the promise and the opportunities in the world building and the storytelling overall throughout this season are excellent, but the issue is the pacing is all wrong.
See, and this is why I'm going to disagree with you.
Well, we burned so much time in one episode in particular, and in little bits and pieces throughout, there's been a pile of time burned that could have been better stacked so that they could have at least, you know, kind of introduced some more detail without having to force people to either go unknowing or have to go do homework.
So I don't mean to interrupt. I think we've all just witnessed that. Remember that procedure I had, Michael, not too long ago?
Yeah, your neck thing.
Yeah, I think we all just witnessed it wearing off because I've been. Anyways, I got to get something else. I'll be back in just a second.
Sure. No, that's okay. I'll correct Miley while you're gone. Well, and the reason I disagree with you about that, particularly when it comes to this, is and I just realized. Hold on, that I need to get. Hold on, just a second.
Yeah,
because I got an alert that we got a donation, but I didn't have my OBS screen up, so I can't read it. But so I might go digitally weird for a minute here while OBS loads.
Okay.
All right. So tell me, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're okay.
All right. Okay. Except that, no, that's weird. That doesn't show anything new. Because the person who made the donation didn't read the description and did it the old way.
Oh, went it through Streamlabs.
Yeah. So the person who just did the donation through Streamlabs, that link doesn't, technically you can send me the money that way, but I can't see the message that way anymore. Take a look in the description of this video and you will see an updated link for me to see any, if you want to make a donation. I'm so sorry, dude. I couldn't see it. So that's entirely, I should, but yeah. So it was a $1 donation. That's all I know. So thank you. I don't know what you said exactly.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Yes. So let me say this about the pacing issue. And I'll agree with you again. We talked to death about that one episode where, the story of Dr. Pershing was so out of place with everything else. And that probably should have been broken up over the first 4 episodes, into little like 5-10 minute sections. Yeah. But this scene to me wasn't a pacing issue because this scene was Zeb, and I had no clue who Zeb was because I've not seen Star Wars Rebels. Didn't pull me out. It didn't distract me at all because of the fact that I don't have a clue who Zeb was. But I just thought, hey, it's a Star Wars alien. He's cool looking. And then and he's giving a line that would make absolute sense that he would give to this character because he wants to go and plead his case to Fleet Command. And so he's going to go, he's leaving Space Vietnam to go to Coruscant. And the whole scene is all of about 45 seconds long. it's not this huge waste of time like
No,
like
but
you're making it out to be.
no. This individual scene on its own isn't a waste of time specifically, but the problem is that it speaks to the broader. Maybe it's not. Maybe calling everything a pacing issue isn't correct, but perhaps
This
it's
would be a member berry, but it's a subtle one to me because, sure, fans of Rebels are like, hey, cool, one of my people are in it. But if you're not a fan of Rebels, does it detract? No. Because for me, I had no idea. And there we go. And I see Mercer tipped $3.33. Thank you so much, Mercer. And says, best episode this season. Not saying much, though. Wow. Overall, just felt like a cartoon with 35 let's see, 35 extra instead of a breathing town, 35 extras instead of a breathing town. Creed's acting was not good here. I don't know. He felt like a politician. I don't see why he's acting.
The writing came off like first season Rebels. And I like Dave Filoni a lot, but first season Rebels was clunky. So,
but I will fully acknowledge that this was a member berry, but this episode isn't like member berry. You know what I'm saying?
No, but the thing that I'm starting to really get concerned about is that the universe storytelling is getting so big that there's the weight of them throwing this in here is missing, and they're expecting it to mean a lot, but it's only going to mean a lot to people who consume literally everything. It's like going into a comic book store and casually talking about insert comic book hero here, because I was never a comic book hero fan. And when you guys get started up on comic books, you guys go off and reinforce all of the comic book fan stereotypes, and I'm sitting here going, I'm a giant normie. But in the case of this particular type of storytelling, it goes kind of the other way around, and just
well, think about that. So, and just a gift tipped $4.20, the Danny special. Thank you. And says, I don't have a clue. Is that news? LOL. Did I say I don't have a clue? Because I don't have a clue whose that is.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, like having him in here, good idea, because it helps build, it's reintroducing characters and into, live action play,
right?
Which is
and
really cool.
Does that mean we could get Ezra and what's the name of the Jedi?
I think we're gonna get. I think Ezra and Kanan Jarrus is dead. He's dead, but Ezra, he's disappeared. We know he's going to show back up, obviously, some point in Ahsoka. And clearly we're going to also get Thrawn at some point, somewhere, whether it's his own series or he's the villain in maybe even multiple series, possibly.
Right.
But I think the next character we're going to end up seeing is Sabine Wren, because as we'll see at the end of the episode, Bo-Katan has been sent on a mission.
Right, which we'll talk about that.
Yeah. So I guess, if we want to go from a writing and a filler and an explanation perspective, that 40 minutes we spent on Lieutenant Biscuits could have been way better spent, not necessarily in that episode, but across the breadth of the whole season of Mandalorian season 3.
Well, and that's what I was saying, is that if we'd broken that into a couple of 5-minute chunks in episode 1, 2, 3, 4, rather than, most of an episode.
Well, and I even think you could have actually deleted a lot of the content.
Right,
was
I
there
agree.
and
I
put
think
something
that like
else.
them parading around in the mall was stupid, and
Yeah.
you know, all we needed was really to establish who her character was and her betrayal of Pershing.
Well,
Because
and then to
it's a
introduce
setup
the
for what we
ambiguity.
got this episode.
Well, yeah, there was way too much time spent on that to just deliver what we now sort of basically know now,
Right.
which is that's an awful long walk around the park.
Yeah, it seemed like we got 40 minutes of setup for 5 minutes of payoff. And the 5 minutes of payoff was just so that we knew who she was
Yeah.
when she said a couple of lines.
Yeah.
And I'm you know I'm good that I'm glad that we know who she was, but yeah, I think it could have been done a lot more efficiently, and that's where I agree with you as far as the pacing. I think that is this show's Achilles heel. Is that episode this season was definitely so far this season's low point.
Yeah,
Let's
retro
go on.
nerd girl.
Obviously a little incapacitated right now.
Yeah, I will attribute as appropriate. This is courtesy of the Salty Nerds.
Yes.
They came up with that name, and I had to steal it because it was that good.
Yeah, Lieutenant Biscuits is a good name for her, since
that was her whole role in that episode.
Yes.
I
So he
want
goes to
biscuits.
Coruscant, and he goes to the bureaucracy, and here we do see the bureaucracy. Now, you know, I was honestly hoping, and this is a member berry I was actually hoping for. I wanted to see the dude from Andor, the dude that got into. Now granted, I know this is way too late. I stopped and forgot about where we are in the timeline, but
I was listening to all of that, by the way, just so you know.
that's cool.
Okay, cool.
Remember the dude from Andor that got into the bureaucracy because of after he got busted out of the
Captain Hardon.
Yeah, the guy that he calls Captain Hardon.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so who does he meet? Tim Meadows.
This was like, I don't know, man. This
took me out of the show.
Yeah, it really did take me out of the show.
It was extremely jarring. This was bad casting.
Terrible
casting.
I
would agree that it was bad casting because and it's kind of funny. It's bad casting and it wasn't bad casting at the same time, because in fairness, I actually think that Tim Meadows did a good job in the role. But the problem is,
no, he basically played that snarky SNL character he does.
No, I don't think he did. I think
it felt like it to me.
He didn't feel snarky to me. I think you were reading into it because you were thinking snarky SNL character.
Well, I would say that the problem with Tim Meadows is the same problem that we get with a couple others.
Right. You're thinking he is a comic actor, therefore this is a comedic role.
Well, I mean, we can't play this clip out, but if you play this clip, he is being very like sarcastic, like the whole time.
He's like
kind
of
dismissive, just
he's
like
dismissive, but he's not like he's not being an SNL charger. He's not being a parody of Star Wars.
I'm just saying, if two out of three people on the panel got the same vibe, I just think it was bad casting.
So here's the best way that I like to put it. Jeff Goldblum is Jeff Goldblum.
Right, and that would be a problem too. If you cast Jeff Goldblum in the same role, it would
no. But Tim Meadows is the same problem. I can't see Tim Meadows and not see comedian and not see basically all of his portrayals.
Scottish skeptic. I really wish I had the ability to click on it.
Scottish skeptic.
Yeah, it means the same thing here, brother. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. That's
we're
not so different that we don't get the joke.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this
but of course the difference is that in Scotland about half the words mean that and the other half of the words mean urinate in some way,
probably.
But yeah, wait, I'm sorry, the other half of the words are divided between urinate and drink.
But Scotland.
Yeah. No, so what I'm saying is I'm agreeing with what you're saying there, Jason, is that when I saw him, I had an eye roll moment because I was like, for real, now we're going to SNL territory and we're making a joke out of it. But then after I rewatched the scene and I realized he was playing it straight, I think he did a decent job. But the problem is that I can't take him seriously because he's Tim Meadows. It would be like if we had
bad casting. That's what I was like, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
but again, I don't think that it's the problem is that Tim Meadows is typecast. It's not bad casting, it's that he's typecast now as a comedic actor. And he hasn't broken out of that. And I think this was an attempt by him to break that.
I don't know. I feel like he thinks he was funny. Like when I feel like he was.
I don't think he does. I don't
went
think
back and watched the dailies. He probably laughed at himself. You know, he probably thought, no, there were. Oh man, again, I had it playing, so maybe it helped not seeing him, just hearing him. Because
I mean, yes, he was annoyed with the droid and all that, but that's typical Star Wars type banter. That's nothing like.
Okay. I mean, this ain't a big deal. Like we can move on. I mean, it was just it was a little jarring.
Yeah, it's not like he was sitting there with a bottle of Carvassier saying, you know, where the ladies at. You know,
how many James, bitch?
Yeah, that's not.
That's Dave Chappelle. I know.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah. Anyway, so moving on. And so then
GK design the ladies Mandalorian.
Yes. Ooh, a Mandalorian.
We have some clever people. And hey, by the way, thank you guys. I'm only 7 away from 100 subs now, and that's all because you let me do this simulcast
on
Wednesdays
you go.
and Thursdays. So thank you, man. Yeah, 7 more. You guys can help me out.
As bad as you think. Apparently. But
actually, that reminded me I have to go thumbs up everybody's channels. So there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
So then Miss Biscuits comes in.
Lieutenant Biscuits.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And now this part of the scene I really liked.
Well, I know. Well, okay, why? Because what happened is she knew what was going on. She comes in, she makes up some BS. I'm going to the commissary. She completely manipulates this dude. And reinforces the fact that he's being a snarky asshole to this guy who's just doing his job. That's how I took it.
The fact that he sees right through her, the fact that he sees right through the pilot.
No, this guy's like he's an old timey good guy.
Right, but he sees through both of these people.
Yeah,
he knows that she's still an imp. He knows that he doesn't, that Tim Meadows' character doesn't give a crap, that he's just a bureaucrat. He gets it. And he realizes that this is no better than the freaking Empire. He knows it at this point.
Thank you, Alexander Brooks. I just
and this is one more step to the Empire did nothing wrong. I mean, this is the New Republic is just the Empire in a new set of clothes.
Yeah.
And an incompetent one at that.
Yeah, she's still working.
Yeah, it's an incompetent empire.
She's clearly still working for Moff Gideon.
Yeah, and this is
Moff Gideon is working for Thrawn.
Yeah, we think at this point, we're kind of skipping to the bit at the end, but we think Moff is working for Thrawn, and we're gonna because first off, remember we all agreed that regardless of how horrible that the pacing was with that giant 40-minute interstitial. Is where in the world did that giant fleet of advanced TIE fighters and TIE bombers come from?
I just need 5 more, guys.
Oh, nice.
Your friends.
Stop trying to print your channel while we're doing
this.
I
never I'm excited. It's not a lot, but 100's a nice milestone. It's a nice little,
You'll get there. Just relax.
I can't even get super chats or stuff till I get 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
That's why, you know what? Set up Streamlabs
or Stream Elements.
You know what, Jason, you can teach me that after the show if you want. But
I got time.
Not during the show. Not during.
But so Biscuits. I think Biscuits is actually, in my opinion, Biscuits was working for Thrawn directly. When we saw her in the Dr. Pershing episode, I think that
You
taking
think
down Pershing was an order from Thrawn.
you think?
Yeah,
Well,
probably.
actually, you know what? Knowing how calculating Thrawn was always put to be in all of the pre-Disney purchase content, and that's just from me watching YouTube videos, not from necessarily reading it.
Mhm.
Plus what we did get in Rebels, where he was merciless, and basically if the
Okay,
TV
pronouns,
rating for that
pronouns. Who's
Kronos,
he?
please don't use that term.
What?
Kronos is
Oh,
Yeah.
well, hey, I did want to say that I wish I could show this comment. Retro Nerd Girl said something I bet you might agree with, that she sees Tim as a personification to the New Republic's attitude.
that is
Yeah.
actually, that's a way to save it, even though it's still
Yeah.
jarring for me as a viewer.
Yeah.
That absolutely does save it.
Well,
in
yeah, they
universe.
don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with how calculating Thrawn is, I would even go so far as to say that somebody got smart, and just her having been in a few shots in season 2 gave them the opportunity to maybe now turn her character into a Thrawn plant, like a handler.
Well, is this chick from any of these cartoons with all these
No,
other people?
No, she's super new. She's
Okay.
completely straight out of season 2. So
Okay.
she had like 5 lines in season 2.
Right.
And now she's, Lieutenant Biscuits.
Right.
And we know we're getting Thrawn, and we know Thrawn is involved somehow. So now the big question, the mystery is how is this tied together?
Right.
Yeah.
And so while the setup was way too slow and drawn out, this payoff with her, I think, was good, because I think that this does show that I think, because quite frankly, I think she's too good a manipulator to be working for Gideon. I think that Gideon, keep in mind, what was Gideon's number one thing? He wanted Baby Yoda. He wanted those midi-chlorians. He wanted Pershing's work. And now Thrawn's like, no, fry him. That's Thrawn right there.
Well, yeah,
So
because
that's why
he doesn't want
That's
Gideon.
why I think he's working for Thrawn, not
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Gideon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I could see that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It's
that's,
just
Stan Lee's here now. Hi, Stan Lee.
hey, Stan.
I guess this is another one of those good points where this goes to what I was saying in my hot take. All of the details are excellent.
Yes.
The issue is just how it's put together, how
The
it's
setup was
delivered.
poor.
Well,
with
you
her.
know what makes me really sad now is because if they're actually doing this, and they are doing this, we know it. I really wish that the sequel trilogy had never come out, because they're building all this stuff after Return of the Jedi that would lead into something way better by then. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
here's the irony of it, is that from what we're seeing of the New Republic in the Mandalorian series here, it's all of a sudden the sequel trilogy makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
That honestly, that the New Republic is so incompetent as to let the First Order take over overnight.
Well, the upside is that even EU and Legends content had the New Republic painted as complete and utter dolts,
yeah.
and is why the Imperial Remnant and why the First Order were able to exist. So either way, we get the same outcome, regardless of which sets of universes. But I guess the issue is that we could have actually gotten way better storytelling.
Yeah, and the further away from The Last Jedi I get, the more upset I get with Mark Hamill for, it's always an option to just walk away.
Say no.
Yeah, to just say no.
Yeah.
Because there's no, that's why, the Luke Skywalker I saw in Mandalorian, the 2 times I got to see him, why couldn't we have gotten an older version of that in the sequel trilogy instead of the broken down? Sorry, I don't want to
No, you're not wrong.
And what we all already know. I mean,
The
sequel trilogy sucks. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
All right. So meanwhile, back on not Tatooine.
With not C-3PO.
Yeah. Apollo Creed tells not C-3PO that the people of not.
It's Stan. We spent a whole bunch of time. Jason and I agree with you on that, but Salty doesn't. So
no, I said he was off.
Yeah, okay. He does, but just not as deeply as we took it.
I know. I just don't think that he was purposefully being comedic. I think that it was just the perception of him being a comedic actor threw it off.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so yeah, not Tatooine, not C-3PO, and Apollo Creed are telling the people that we're kind of boned for right now, but don't worry, I sent a message to the New Republic.
I kind of expected there to be more people. Like, did a lot of them get killed or something? I mean, because isn't that supposed to be like everybody? You know,
the extras budget was spent on the Corsair.
That's one thing I gotta say. I don't know what happened there, because it feels like there was supposed to be like a lot of CG crowd building that just didn't happen.
Yeah, or something, because
because
there was
it's
not
like,
a lot of people.
So the entire population of that city that we see on screen right now is like 35 people.
Yeah, that does no.
That something doesn't quite seem right.
Yeah. So I guess like a couple thousand people died.
But on the flip side, though, when we saw Navarro in season 1, that population would be about right. But so I don't know. Maybe those are just industrial buildings. But that apparently is the entire population of the capital city of Navarro. That is, in my opinion, the biggest glaring plot hole of this.
I mean, that's
that shot right there.
There should at least be a few hundred people. Okay, maybe when I said 1,000, I was exaggerating.
My guess is that this shot was probably originally meant to have crowds of CG people on the hills behind them.
If that were true, why would they even include the shot then? Just like not.
Because he's got to give the speech. He says, "Citizens of
these are all of his citizens." That's just sad.
Yeah.
That's just sad.
Yeah.
Actually, in a funny way, it actually doubles down on his insistence on being called high.
Yeah,
the high.
I thought it was the droid that always corrected him.
He started that.
Okay.
You got to go back and read. I know.
That's why it was a joke at the end.
But it was his idea. Yeah. The droid just does it at his quarters.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't have his little. He doesn't have his little droid, capey droids anymore. Poor guy.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. He's had to give
those
up.
That's true. The little guys were still inside their shop. That's true, Tom. So there's at least 3 more people. With the guy who's serving the pirates, so there's 4 people. So 39 to 39, not 35. Meanwhile, on the other not Tatooine, which I at first, and I gotta say, this is one of those moments where I was. And at first I was incensed when I realized that we were seeing him fly his X-Wing to the covert. I was like, how the heck did he find the covert when the Mandalorians are so good at hiding? And I was really angry until the first thing they do is explain it. And I gotta say, I like that, because that's one thing we've complained about on other shows that we've talked about. Like, why didn't they throw in 2 lines of dialogue to explain it?
Right.
And this is one where they did.
My biggest fear was that we were going to get something completely ridiculous for an explanation. And fortunately,
it was a good explanation, actually.
Yeah.
And when he said, "Oh, there's someone among you that served with me in the rebellion," I thought it was going to be Bo-Katan. And then for it to be R5, I was like, "Oh, dang!"
Yeah.
No, I kind of saw that one coming, because this guy kind of reminds me. He's like a civilian kind of Obi-Wan-ish kind of character, like in the sense, like from A New Hope or Star Wars, in the sense that like he's like I think he's going to end up, being somewhat important in the outcome. Like I don't know. He strikes me as like a detective type of character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's kind of like I'm gonna just keep popping up kind of guy, and he does a pretty good job.
He's
of
like
it.
he's basically like a local magistrate type character.
In space.
He's patrolling this part of the Outer Rim, and it's his territory, and he cares. Unlike his superiors, he actually gives a crap. And the thing and the thing that and you know what I would not
he's one of the good ones, man. He's one of the good ones.
What would not surprise me at all, and I would love to see, is for him to become the chief law enforcement officer on Navarro by the end. Because remember, they did say they were looking for a cop,
a new sheriff. Yeah.
And so
I dig it. I hope that happens.
Because
little things like that payoff will make me like these previous.
Right.
Yeah. And see, that's what I mean. Like all these, they've got lots of good elements. They're just not selling them well.
Yeah.
So he shows up and he's like, "Hey, I know you guys gonna kill me."
So I gotta ask this though. Okay, so we've all watched Happy Days, of course. Tell me this guy does not put off just a little bit of a Pat Morita as the chef at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Except without being too comical about it.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, he just puts off just that little bit.
That's a good pull.
Kronos wants to know when we're going to do BSG. We haven't set down a timeline for it yet, but that's
BSG. I mean, as short as Battlestar, the reboot.
You guys are supposed
that is definitely on our radar for what we want to do.
Because I've never seen it, and you guys.
Yeah, we want to get you guys. We want to get you into that.
Of course, knowing Danny, he'll hate it.
Oh, I think he'll be like me with the show, though.
Aren't we talking about live streaming, like reaction or something or talk commentary? Weren't you saying that, or at least watching it together?
Watching it together so we can at least see you react to it.
Right, like doing reaction videos.
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
But you were looking into that, right?
Mostly just me and
I gotta set some time aside and we gotta test that out, make sure it works right.
Okay.
And he's like, "Hey, I got a migraine." So
that was actually a good back that right there. That Happy Days. There you go.
Right there. He looks like he looks like right there. So he explains well his case that what's going on. And I do like, because the way of the Mandalore is they'd have to relocate the coven or the covenant or the covert, sorry. Or
it's like, whoa, is this Halo? The Covenant?
Yeah, I know. Or just kill the guy, right?
Yeah.
And so the big guy's just like, yeah, let's just kill him. And Din's like, well, this guy did cut me a break. So
no, this was good. Like that's why. See, like he's got good karma, and like and it happened to be the same person, so he repaid the favor. They're even now.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's all good. I dug it.
And so I kind of like that. So then he and Mando talk a little bit about what's really in for what are you
all
really
these fools are so trigger happy when he's taking out this little disc here in a second.
Well, you do realize that Mandalorians worship weapons, so they're going to be a little trigger happy.
Yeah, there's like no sudden movements around the gun happy people.
Yeah, they are literally. I mean, like
that's why I had to leave Texas.
They make the NRA
I was so
look
nervous being outside all the time.
I was gonna say if there was a Texas inside of Texas, they would be Mandalorians.
Yeah,
nice.
That would be awesome. You know what? That's it. If I ever win one of those giant lotteries, I'm going to buy a big plot of land in Texas and start the town of Mandalore. just so that I can. And like anybody that lives there is required to wear armor and wear guns. All right, so
well, the helmets make for perfect mailboxes because they already have the little flags, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
well, in that case, Bo-Katan's got mail to go out. So,
Yeah.
You've got mail.
Yeah. So Bo-Katan comes over, says, "What are you going to do?" And he's like, "Hey, got to help him." And you know, so she's like, "Well, all right." And so now I love this scene.
Well, that's kind of not
This is
how it
another scene
happened.
where we reveal part of the Mandalorian culture.
Yeah, no, this was all right, but no, back, you got that wrong. He was not the one saying he should get help. She was telling him he needed to get help, you know.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how-
She was.
right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she said you can't do it alone. He says,
Can't
"I
do it
gotta
alone,
help," and she's like,
you know.
"Well, you can't do it alone."
Yeah.
Yeah, but it kind of seemed to me like she was the one that nudged him in there to ask for help.
That's so did I.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, you can, you know, when they gather as a clan, you can only talk when you're holding the armorer's hammer.
Matthew wasted no time calling it the talking hammer.
Yeah.
It's the talking stick.
And you know that, and everybody gave respect, you know, to the person, even regardless of whether they agreed or disagreed. You know, and again, I really like the fact that this is a very reverent culture. This is
I mean, you would like this. It's almost a carbon copy of the same culture you're a part of, you know. So, I mean,
you know, you don't have to.
I don't have a talking
insulting,
stick.
dude. You really don't have to be insulting about it.
I'm sorry. It's like, look, I'm just trying to be like Kirk calling Spock human. You know, I find that to be insulting. You know, it's like, I don't mean
that's
it
not
as
the
an
same
insult.
thing.
It's totally the same.
No, calling a person human is not the same as calling a person a cult member.
No, calling a Vulcan a human is equal to that.
It is not.
It's probably worse calling a Vulcan a human.
Because Spock is, in fact, half human.
Nerd fight.
Yeah, right. That's what. Hey, that's the name of the show. So,
Yes, but you need to stop that.
Stop
Anyway,
that. Okay.
and we're going to get into some religious stuff at the end of this, and so now you open up the floodgates for that.
Well, no, I mean, no, it's all kind of, it's almost obvious. So like, we'll get there.
No, I think it's very clear what they're, and this is something I've mentioned several episodes ago, and I think they're reinforcing in this episode. But we'll get to that when Bo-Katan goes on her mission. But anyway,
that whole I really want to talk about that part.
So so he gives his spiel about why he thinks it's important, even though Apollo Creed was a jerk. He changed his ways, blah blah blah, and he finishes his spiel, and he sits down, and then, of course, his arch rival takes the hammer and says, "I have something to say."
Well, not just his arch rival either, but also House Vizsla, who was always against the House Kreese. So
right. Yeah. So he doesn't like Din. He doesn't like Bo-Katan. He's been he resents the fact that Din has the dark saber. And so he takes the hammer, and when he says we need to ask ourselves why should we do this, and I was sitting there going, oh man. And then he goes, because
it's the Christian thing to do.
and when he said because we're Mandalorians, I was like, yes, you know, that was it right there.
You didn't think it was a little obvious? I mean, like Mando did save his kid's life. I mean, I kind of
but with the way the houses all
the way the
fight each
houses
other,
fall, I was expecting him to oppose it.
Oh, you were right on. Okay.
Yeah,
because
and the funny thing
remember,
is
in season 1, he did actually fight against Apollo Creed.
Yeah, and then didn't he in last or yeah, was it last season? Him and Din fought over the Darksaber on the scaffolding, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he and Din fought over the Darksaber, and but big guy here with the hammer in this shot, he, he was he shot at and fought Apollo Creed and his mercenaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now Din is asking him to stage a rescue for Apollo.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
no, I know what's going on, but
yeah.
I mean, but like that dude saved his kid's life. I mean, that kind of is a trump card.
Yeah, it's just when you tie it together with what happens at the very end of this episode, it makes it even more powerful, though.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get to yeah. It's just very Deep Space Nine-ish to me,
Yeah.
I guess.
But I mean, it is space wizards and the Force, so
yeah, that's true.
None of this should surprise any of us.
Right.
Yeah.
So he manages to rally the troops, and we get look at that, our classic Star Wars wipe.
Yeah, the fuzzy transition wipe. Yeah,
gotta get a Star Wars wipe in there somewhere.
White ships just don't make sense to me. First of all, they'd be completely filthy going in and out of the atmosphere all the time, and I feel like all ships should just like be black. It just seems like it'd be more efficient. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't be able to see them in a movie.
That's true. Fair point. I got to remember this. This is make believe, Danny. This is make believe. I got to remember that.
Yeah.
And besides, think real life. The space shuttle was white.
Even the Russian space shuttle was white and not red.
Oh wow! Wow!
All right, so so very simple battle plan. They only have 2 ships, and they just say, okay, we're gonna drop you guys in town, and they'll cause some havoc.
Yeah, FS up. Yeah, I can't see. At least I'm trying to not cuss around you.
You're doing a little better. So then we go into town and we see
all these pirate punks.
Yeah, the pirate punks now occupying the town.
I guess there's a few stragglers, so there might be 40 people,
Yeah, and some little impy things in the tree.
Yeah.
So we get our first shot of Din flying his N1 over the town.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the Mandalorians apparently don't have a ship. I don't know how they got their covert there.
They're jetpacks, maybe? I don't know.
Well, they can't go from planet.
Well, they can't go very far. They established that in the last.
They broke down their ship to build the covert. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it kind of makes me wonder if there isn't going to be like a, surprise. We have
because they're going to have to move everybody to Navarro somehow. And there's a nice shot of
there's a lot of good shots of him. Like the one I got from the thumbnail was coming. Well, it was actually later when he takes the wheel.
He really does just look like a sentient salad.
He looks like I don't know. He looks like a creature that crawled out of the swamp and became a pirate. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, but a sentient salad. I mean, like, look, he's got 2 cherry tomatoes for eyes.
Okay, I guess
Well, Pirates of the Caribbean does belong to Disney, so if they want to rip themselves off, go right ahead.
So
it just was an unexpected turn, I will say that, but maybe it shouldn't be. Oh, you know what? I got the DVD of the Droids cartoon that for some reason,
the 80s that everyone.
Why are you mentioning that abomination?
Well, I think there were pirates in that one. Because I was just about to say, I don't think I've ever seen.
Could have been.
I think there were. Anyway.
Well, technically, Han Solo was a pirate.
He's a smuggler.
Yeah.
He's a pirate.
He's a scruffy looking nerf herder too.
Yeah. He's a smuggler. He smuggles. He's more like a drug runner than a pirate.
He is a pirate. In fact, Lando even calls him a pirate.
Fair enough.
So there's one of the very few shots you see of the bridge of this ship.
Yeah.
just trying to get a sense of exactly how big the ship is. It's really
Yeah,
hard to
so I
tell.
actually paused it
hard.
at the hologram that they had up when they were getting ready to come out of hyperspace.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
ship is only probably about 15 of these little snub fighters long, maybe 20. So it's probably only about 4 to 6 times longer than that Mandalorian fighter transport. So it would probably be bigger than it would probably be very similar in size to the Architon's class cruiser that Moff Gideon had. So it'd be right in and around that size, just not as thick top to bottom.
And of course,
this guy.
yeah, we have these guys. Now, I gotta say, the battle itself, I thoroughly enjoyed for a couple of reasons. And this is and I know you're gonna hate me for comparing it to Star Trek, but
Oh man, why?
I have um, because look, I'm a Trekkie first. I really am. But
Yeah, me too. So,
but
so why are
here's
you?
because you know what they do in this battle that they don't do in any modern Star Trek battle ever is they make the ship scales you feel them and they feel right. When you see the fighters move, and in fact you have one,
I already
two,
already
three,
know where you
you
go.
have four
I already know what
different
you're.
size ships in this battle.
Yes.
All four of them move at different velocities,
Yeah.
different maneuverabilities, and they are very realistic to each other. And
Yeah, you bitched
love
about
it.
this enough in Star Trek already.
I know, but you know what? That's what makes it feel real.
No,
That's
and
why,
that's
like,
cool. But like,
especially
look at this.
with
So,
the
like,
Corsair.
is this? What are those things? Like, is that giving us scale? Are those little fighter ships off to the right of the screen?
So just to the right, that's the
Because
N1.
it's so hard to, like, how high up is it? Because shit, man, it looks like it's like a third of the size of the city, but I have no idea.
Well, that's good. That should tell you that the city is actually a lot smaller than we were assuming.
Yeah. Okay.
And so
yeah.
that should tell us that the populace of the city is actually not that unreasonable.
Okay.
If
just
like
no
each of those
kids.
buildings might only house one family.
Right.
So
I think the big reason that Star Wars, not to contribute to the dwelling, but I think the difference between the way Star Wars does its combat, its ship on ship combat
look at that.
versus
Yeah, no, like this
moving. Is exactly what I was about to say. Is look at what we're actually seeing there.
Mhm.
There's way more. Okay, so Mike does not like Nemesis.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
Nemesis,
yeah.
and a lot of people don't like Nemesis, but Nemesis has the most Star Warsian Star Trek fight of all Star Trek. The Battle of the Bazin Rift is probably the coolest, especially if you edit it down and remove all the ship interior conversation bits.
Yeah.
It becomes one of the best space combat scenes ever in Star Trek, in any medium.
I almost thought you were going to go to Insurrection, where he's controlling a ginormous spaceship with a joystick.
Yeah. Nope.
But so, like, this is the antithesis to that, it's like,
yeah, so because you get the fast moving action, you get the beauty passes, you get the very deliberate angle shots of the different ships across each other, and it just adds to the.
But little ships are
immersion.
quick and big ships aren't.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I like.
Well, let's
and that's something that Star Trek is truly missing, unfortunately. But it turns out that this whole thing with Mando attacking the ship is just a distraction. Which was actually a pretty cool move, because then when Katie attacks, or Bo-Katan attacks the ship, and they turn around, and that was just a distraction, which I gotta love the double distraction
Well,
I guess it's
Mandalorians were
AFC
probably
double
really
down.
good, tacticians, if they worship weapons.
Yes.
So.
Well, and it seems like Din and Bo-Katan in particular are very good ship tacticians.
Yeah, and they probably, one had so I could buy one had one idea, one had the other, and they're like, "F it, let's do them both."
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because he pulls them away so she can drop the Mandos in the city, and then she does the run on the ship so that the fighters come back at her when they're chasing her. Now him with his super maneuverable fighter just picks them off like they're nothing.
Yeah.
And
They give
it was
them
like
a wombo combo.
They make a good team.
Yeah. I mean, that was absolutely brilliant as far as if you had those two ships against 10 fighters and a small cruiser, that is a dang near perfect strategy.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful to watch. Now I will say that I
like that shot of him. Damn, it looked like he had I like how his beard looked.
Oh
yeah. It's like
yeah, and I gotta say, he was so intense throughout this battle too. I did love him.
Yeah, I mean, did you look like I it was hard for me. I got him doing his little snarly face. You know what I mean?
And I think he was practical.
I mean, he looks practical. He didn't look fake like that other dude with the pointy ears. Like that other dude.
I think he's a practical, because they try to do puppets whenever they can.
Yeah,
and so
he looks straight out of Farscape. Like was getting some
Farscape
vibes.
Yeah.
And they've just gotten so good at this stuff. I gotta say, the ground combat in this episode was okay. It wasn't spectacular. Really, the thing that sold me on this episode was the aerial combat.
And see, that looked just like. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't. I don't want to nitpick because we ain't got a lot of time left. We got
What, his costume?
Well, yeah, that just reminded me.
It looked like a rubber mask.
It looks like something from DS9, era. A villain of the week in the Delta Quadrant in Voyager.
But that's something we've seen before in Star Wars. I can't remember what it's called, but that is a race we've seen.
Yeah, just like it feels like they didn't have as much money as they wanted for all this. I feel like there should be more people. Like, you see what they're doing there, like they're reusing people low and up high, so you can take 30 people.
Right, they're trying to hide the number of people on the screen.
Yeah, everything feels really small to me.
It's using the money you have. Remember, this is a TV show, and this is not a feature film.
Yeah.
So, if this were a feature film, we'd be seeing 500 people on screen.
What up, Alex? We got some new people here. Have we said hi to all of them? People like to be acknowledged in the chat.
I think we have.
Michael. Okay.
We have somebody driving by on a Harley.
Oh no, we got Always Mercy. I've not seen her on your, or him, or they, or whoever on your channel, Danny.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah, and Alex Moore. Yeah.
Right on. So I'm gonna be shameless again one more time since we got some new people. Mm-hmm. I'm dropping my my YouTube channel link in the chat. I'm 5 away. I'm 5 away from 100.
Oh, give him 5.
Wait until tomorrow, because we'll have a bigger crowd.
We'll push you. We'll push you to 105 tomorrow.
105. Right on.
Jeez. We'll even stay a few extra minutes tomorrow just to get you over 100 if you haven't done it.
Right. It'll be a subscriber-a-thon.
Yeah. You're so sweet.
Right. And so and I do also.
Yeah, here we go. Look at that. That's close. That's close to the thumbnail bit.
And I do like that he's almost got the old style sailing ship
the
wheel there.
Yeah.
All it needs is the little I don't know what you call them, but those those handles that you hold onto to turn it. And of course, he's yelling at his crew. You know, they're like, we need to withdraw. No, never. Yar.
Actually, one of the funny things is Matthew picked up that during the Mandalorian theme at the start of near the beginning of the episode, they actually threw in a little pirate kind of a
Did they?
tune to it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you listen carefully to where they normally you just hear the
Yeah.
You actually do hear a little bit of a pirate tune thrown in there.
Oh, all right. Well,
it's kind of funny.
Worth going back
to.
So we're about to watch the.
I know, Stanley. Where were you? I already said that, buddy. You know.
You did need a peg leg and a pirate, but you know, instead of
a parrot,
a parrot pirate,
a
parrot, instead of a parrot, he could have like I don't know, some other,
some kind of alien version of a parrot. Wow. Now he should have had like a peg leg. It would have been perfect, you know. Maybe they just thought that'd be over the top. Oh no, they didn't have enough money for it because they would have had to put the green screen stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. They're trying to spend their, you know, like on this episode, you can tell where they focused on spending their money was the aerial combat. That was, you know, if you look at the VFX, that's where they did not compromise.
Yeah.
And right here we got okay, let's just take this guy down because he's going to try and take out the people.
Well,
and there he goes.
Mercer, to answer your question, I mean, money, think about it. Andor is way cheaper than this show. Like, I would think. I mean, there's no reason for Andor to cost anywhere near.
I don't think Andor looked particularly better than this show.
No. You know,
I mean,
there's a lot of indoor. Well, I mean, anyway, never mind. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
we're not talking about
maybe. Yet. I mean, it's just it's a different color palette. Maybe you just think that the gray looks better than blue. But whatever.
Yeah. Friday night subject.
That's you know,
put a pin in it.
But it's really. I mean, I think if you look at the quality of the visual effects, they're on par with each other. I think that the Lucasfilm team is producing very consistent work throughout their shows right now. As far as their visual effects team, they're doing a really good job. I'm not saying the writing is always there. I'm not saying that because unfortunately, because they.
What's your rebel friend's name that was in the bar earlier?
Zeb
looked terrible. I'm just
well, that was a mistake, I think, to make him CG. I think they should.
They should have done it practical.
Yeah.
But I think that they what they need to do more of is and by the way, that's also another thing about Andor. Very few aliens on Andor.
Yeah.
Very few aliens. There are a ton of aliens on this show.
Yeah.
And that might be what's standing out to you.
Yeah.
Is since there's aliens, you're seeing more rubber masks.
Yeah. Chase
and like these guys. These guys are puppets, and I think they look pretty good. And so they certainly look a lot better than a puppet would have looked 20 years ago.
Yep.
And so,
it's an insult to these magnificent pieces of animatronic art. To puppet is an oversimplification of what
actually
they are.
It's not an insult to call it a puppet. Is what it is. A puppet is
no, man, that's not a puppet. That's being controlled by like a remote control somewhere, and it's got like
you do realize a puppet simply means it's being controlled by another person. All right.
Okay. This is a work of art.
And and of course, Andor also has, there's the whole issue of Andor breaking lore as far as the, Empire did nothing wrong, but that's that's an entirely other issue.
What, Grogu,
Grogu's improving every season.
Yeah, but did
we only see him a couple of times. We saw him at the
we just see him.
the
He's just
talking
kind of a
hammer.
background character in this.
Yeah,
one.
in this one, yeah, totally.
Yeah, he was sitting in his lap in the N1, and he was at the talking
Yeah.
hammer session, but that was it.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
And so then Apollo Creed is there to take all the credit, but then say, and oh yeah, thanks to our Mandalorian.
He gives him a big swath of land, like he promised.
Yeah, I know, but he's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh,
I know, just the
thank
way he
you to
started
our
out, it did
Mandalorian.
feel kind of.
Yeah.
Until he turned and said, "Thank you to the Mandalorians, and here's 700 hectares of volcanic land for you."
Yeah.
It's like, where is he going with this?
Yeah. Which, you know, and I do like the idea that, hey, you may not have a home planet, but you do have a home.
Yeah.
Which is also a setup where I think the second half of the season is going.
Well, I mean, the chick flat out says we're going to take back Mandalore. You know, now
Right,
they know,
yeah.
like, yeah.
But that may not happen this season. I mean, that may not. That they may just.
I don't think there's enough time for that to happen this season.
Oh, there's
It'd
only
probably
3 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they might set that up to be the story arc for next season, or they could
Right.
anyway. You know,
Or rolls into Ahsoka, or maybe, I don't know. It's so hard to say which direction they're going to go.
Or I think, aren't they doing a Bo-Katan series?
are they, who knows,
Because
man? They've been absent a
believe
lot of
they
stuff.
are.
lately.
And if they do a Bo-Katan series, that could be about her quest.
I tell you what, you know, to all
Mhm.
of our, never mind. Go ahead.
So while they're all celebrating, Big Bad Mando tells Bo that, hey, the armorer wants to talk to you.
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay, now this is
Yeah.
where.
And
Yeah.
this
It's weird.
shocked the crap out of me when
Yeah,
she's like, yeah, take your helmet off.
and
and
she
I
and,
was like-
it's crazy because like Bo is like doesn't want to, and then the
Right.
chick's like, "Do you not respect my position?"
But I'm going to ask you guys, I don't know if you guys remember this,
What's
but this is something I suggested way back when she first saw the mythosaur, that I said, do you think it's possible that with her and Mando, we're going to see a unification of the people who wear helmets and the people who don't?
No, that's
Well, you know,
true.
Yeah,
And that's what we're moving towards.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so once again, thank you. I'm a prophet. But
Well, no, you're not. They're just following. It's a biblical story. It's a tale as old as time.
it's not a biblical story, but it is actually, and this is where I was going to talk a little bit about what
Yeah,
I think is something that I do think is a parallel to what's going on in the world today. This is something that the church does actually need today. Because the church is completely fractured between groups that are so-called fundamentalists, and particularly
what do you mean? What do you mean so-called? I mean, they're either fundamentalists or not, because fundamentalist Christians are the ones that believe the world is 10,000 years old, and
that's not what a fundamentalist Christian is.
You know, what are those?
No,
the ones that add up all the ages of people in the Bible, and then
that's a literalist. That's not a fundamentalist.
Okay.
That's so.
Yeah, and what's funny too is that it parallels in the sense that
that's why I said so-called.
Yeah, well, it's all, you know how you get that classic comment from Obi-Wan that, you know, from a certain point of view,
Right.
Yeah, from
same kind of statement can apply in the real world.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah. So it's definitely, it's very interesting.
Thomas Potts. I like how Mike's ignoring this. Yeah, you got one right, but for every one you get right, you get one wrong, because he says you also said she will never take her helmet off again.
Oh, Matthew stuck that knife into me good today.
I was about to say I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Anonymous tipped $1. Thank you.
Super chat.
And Anonymous says, Salty, it's good to see you in a great mood tonight. I know a few weeks ago you seemed tired and stressed. You're back to your usual self tonight. Well, thank you, Anonymous. Well, part of it
probably that you probably caught Picard. If he was cranky, you probably caught it.
I'm about to kick Danny off the stream. No, actually, part of it is this chair is much more comfortable than the one I've been sitting in. But I'm actually very tired, to be honest with you. I haven't slept much in a couple of days, but thank you. No, I wouldn't say, but I'm in a good mood because I do like where the storytelling is going, even if I do think it's a flawed show. I like the where they're going with this spiritual journey of the Mandalorians. And like I was saying, so you have within Christianity, you have groups like the Catholic Church, the Orthodox Church.
Yeah,
You have
Episcopalians, Presbyterians,
well, no,
Pentecostals. Yeah, I
now
get it.
you're just naming denominations.
Okay, so like,
But
what's going on? Come on.
what I'm talking about is the Catholic Church is the original Orthodox Church. Is the Catholic and the Orthodox Church are like the old school church, and then you have the Reformed Church, and the Reformed Church broke off of the Catholic Church, and the Reformed Church would be more along the lines of Bo-Katan's Mandalorians, what we see in the Clone Wars series, those Mandalorians. And it's not that they're not Mandalorians, but neither one of them see each other as Mandalorians, right? They both look at each other and they say, we're the real Mandalorians, they're not. And so now what the armorer is saying is, no, we all are Mandalorians. We all need to walk the path together. And that's the same thing that we need in the real world as far as things like Christianity. We need to stop having our petty differences and work with what works together. Not when are you okay, Danny? Or did you just leave? Did he just leave?
He's muted, so he might be honking his nose.
Are you honking your nose, or did you just abandon us? Because he didn't put anything in chat. Danny? 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 Danny?
I don't know.
Hello? Anyway, but I like the idea that they're trying to do this unification idea. And I think that's where they're going with it. And thank you, Mercer. I saw you say that earlier. Sorry, I was in the middle of that tangent. But thank you, buddy. And yeah, I do feel a lot better. And Danny has just kind of disappeared. Now I'm like, what the heck happened to Danny? Maybe Cece beat him up. I'll try texting him. And so, what do you think?
I think it's I not only generally agree with that stance, I also agree that it aligns, or I also feel that it aligns with an awful lot more things, and out to, and very much importantly, including politics.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like if you look at liberals and conservatives, they need to stop fighting over their petty differences and
more specifically, internal.
Mm-hmm.
Conservatives never unite properly.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just a matter of record.
Right. Well,
and Mandalorian culture, even liberal Mandalorian culture, is conservative. Right. And it just shows that it's like I can be more conservative than you or whatever. Where in the end, because there's the fragmentation, then it's that old classic saying, a house divided. So you just end up in the situation, and now that you've got this reunification that seems to be truly potentially underway here, then this is a big deal, and it does have broader implications. So, for within your own life and within the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing where they're going with it. As far as, are they going to bring all the Mandalorians together? Are they going to retake Mandalore? When are they going to do that? How will that play into the larger Star Wars universe? And anyway, so let's continue on. So she explains that this is the forge that they had when they were hiding there in secret, and then she kind of explains that Bo-Katan has walked different paths, and that she is maybe the key to unifying everybody, because she understands now both sides. Since she's been a reformer and she's been Orthodox, she gets it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so she can talk to people and speak in their lingo, so to speak. And so then she comes out, and of course, all the other Mandalorians are like,
"Oh yeah, that was actually the moment where Matthew really, really tripled down. He was like, "Yeah, we're never gonna see her again." Everybody sees her again.
And so it's like, she shows her face. And it's hideous, It's like, it looks better than a lot of you.
That dude's always so abrasive, Even when he's agreeing with you, because that's the same guy that was like,
because he's the big fat Mando. What do you
it's
expect?
like, I don't like these people, but they're awesome.
There's no way he's fat. He's got to be jacked like Schwarzenegger. Don't you remember how he climbed that mountain? He climbed. Fat guy couldn't climb that mountain carrying all that weight.
Well, yeah, he's an actor. I'm saying he's a fat.
Oh,
guy
you're talking about the human, like the real life
about
guy.
the human in
Okay.
Yeah, he's got to be a wall of a guy.
Yeah, he's just a big guy. Because actually, I know that in I think it was in the book of Book of Boba Fett. It was Jon Favreau in the suit.
Yeah, I think I remember.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's Jon Favreau in the suit now, but and Jon Favreau is not like spilling out of his guts fat, but he's a portly guy. But
he fluctuates a lot,
right? Yeah, but you put enough belts and armor plating on a guy, and you can make a guy look like they're in decent shape.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, it's like, what you don't realize is that chest plate is actually concealing the fact that his chest is tiny underneath that.
That would be hilarious.
Or he could be like me and have an unfortunate case of moobs. You just never know.
Anyway, so
is actually a giant.
So then she publicly tells all the Mandalorians pretty much what she just told Bo-Katan in private. Now, this is actually a case where I'll agree with what
she didn't say. She didn't say I told her to take it off, did she? Like, I guess she didn't need to.
She just because she was standing there with the armor, and the armor was not saying she's a Mandalorian no more.
Right.
But
it was
sending her on a mission trip. Yeah. So it's like, she couldn't do that if she was.
You really just can't help making all the correlations to Christianity, huh? So
Mandalorian is a religion.
Okay.
And they're talking about different sects. So yes.
Okay. What? Stop it, kitty. So
by the way, for the record, dude is 6'3", and we've actually seen him in all kinds of stuff in regular costumes. He's a monster.
The guy in that suit.
The guy in that suit, right there.
Oh, yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah.
So the
so he's jacked, right?
Yeah,
I knew it.
Oh yeah,
he's not fat.
Absolutely
he's jacked.
huge.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the So she goes off
One more for the
on,
bad guy.
on her mission trip to go clear the thetans out of people. I think that's what they call it, right? No.
Oh, in Scientology, yeah.
Shoot, no,
I wouldn't know.
Come on, now you won't go.
Creed, what?
Oh, for some reason now my
Oh, Creed with arms wide open. Oh my goodness.
huh?
Mercer's making random musical references now.
Oh. Why are you not?
It is actually it's like if I had just one.
And then we get this, which is of course the what
well,
me
we
and
all
Jason,
we already knew.
what me and Jason feel is the Thrawn tease.
Oh
Yeah.
Where they find the Lambda shuttle.
Yeah.
And that obviously there's been an extraction done. And so
that's the word he uses. No, this was an extraction.
And so the question becomes, will we see Gideon again?
Oh yeah, no, he's confirmed. He's in like, yeah, he's
But I mean, like, what will Gideon's it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with Gideon. Because
I think he's useful to Thrawn in a way that it's going to have, if this is all pulling together with Thrawn, that either Moff Gideon works for Thrawn already, or he doesn't, and he realizes he's about to be made the manservant of the God King Admiral of the Empire.
Right.
And,
so
I mean, which as gigs go, I mean, there's worse ones. So.
So the question is, what do you think is the last 3 episodes? Then are they going to be about Gideon? Are they going to be about the retaking Mandalore? Are they going?
I don't think we're gonna. If we see Thrawn, I think it'll be like.
I don't think we're going to see Thrawn this season.
It'll be like if we were though. It would only be like Empire holograph thing.
Yeah, it would be just like a giant tease thing.
Yeah, but I actually don't think we'll see him until the Ahsoka Tano show.
I don't think we're going to see Thrawn until Ahsoka.
So I think how many episodes are left? Because I'm pretty
just
sure John.
3.
So he's in all 3 of them because he does 3 episodes. I read. Giancarlo Esposito, that guy.
Giancarlo or
according to whom?
Giancarlo, yeah.
He does 3 episodes according to whom?
Oh shit! My sources, but let me double check.
Yeah, because sources, unless it came from Disney, I wouldn't.
No, it's like it was probably Sil Abdul or Geekosity,
So
I mean, those guys got good track records though. So.
But I don't care. Track record means nothing. That so they're good at guessing. I have a good track record.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, if there's one thing I've learned, never bring up like unconfirmed news.
Yeah. Just because someone guesses well doesn't make it true. I'm just saying, if he's in this season, great. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see him. I'm just wondering, do you think that the next 3 episodes are going to be about him? Or do you think we're going to focus on Mandalore?
I mean, they're gonna they can tell more than one story at a time, but
if they're gonna do anything similar but hopefully better than what they did with Fun Times on Planet Glowpop, then they could actually
Glowpop,
with Lieutenant Biscuits, like they could seriously. If they pad out the next 3 episodes too, like we don't know what the run times are. That's not even listed.
Yeah,
right.
They don't even.
Typically half-hour episodes.
We didn't even know we didn't get a title or description until the episode dropped. Like,
they've been really tight on this stuff. Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, I think that's been intentional.
Yeah, they've been very tight to the chest with a lot of this stuff. So the next 3 episodes could be
is Coruscant.
Yeah, where they had the lollipops with the light in it.
Yeah, that's Coruscant.
Yeah.
I'm just, like I said, I'm at this point, I think that I'm curious to see where they're going. I'm liking the story. I like the character development, the plot development, the story development for the and the lore development of the Mandalorians. Um, so this series has been a win for me. I understand that it's not for everybody, um, but for me, it's a good. Except for that one episode, I've enjoyed the pace of the Mandalorian series overall. It's not a fast-paced show; it never has been. But there are fast-paced action scenes in the show, but it's never been a super fast-paced show.
It's at least faster than Andor, because
It is a faster-paced show than Andor, yes.
Because that show frustrated me, because it was one of those, I want to keep watching this, but it's also driving me nuts because it feels like it could be edited down a lot.
Right. And so, but I like the pacing of the Mandalorian overall.
Okay,
except for that one episode.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So
let's wrap this bad boy up like a Mandalorian in armor. And
bunks.
So, Danny.
Yes, sir.
Final thoughts and your score for this one.
Oh gosh.
I know.
I think I gave. I gave last week. I got to be fair. I gave last week's that I didn't. No.
Did you give last week like an FU out of 10 or something?
No. I like the one I scored the lowest was episode 2.
Yeah, Biscuits was the one that was rough.
Yeah.
Well, everybody said Biscuits was the worst.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember what I said last week, because I'll put this the same score I gave last week. I think it was a 6. I want to say it was a 6. So I need to start writing this shit down or stuff down. Sorry. Yeah. That's it. So I don't really want to spend any more time talking about it. I think this might be one of those shows that, like, here's what would have happened in like real time. I would have stopped watching this 15, 20 minutes into episode 2. And then after the entire season dropped, depending on what my peers say, I'd go back and I'd binge it from the beginning, and I'd probably enjoy it a lot more that way. Is kind of how I'm feeling, and that's just a problem with how they make TV today. It's just a 10-hour movie,
Yeah, I agree, because I mean, I've been saying that an awful lot about season 3 Picard.
Is that what you're saying?
Do what?
So you're giving it a 6? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I gave it a 6. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Smiles.
because of where yeah, I kind of do, don't I?
By the way, my wife thinks you're adorable because you smile all the time.
Oh, good.
and you speak French, so
yeah, reasonably well enough to not get myself punched in the face if I'm in a French country. That's for sure. Well, you lose some of it when you don't speak it enough. So
I thought you were in that on the east side of Canada.
I am, but I'm in a officially bilingual province, the only one in the whole country.
Oh, okay.
But in the south half, most everybody down here just speaks English all the time. So
okay.
So yeah, for me,
more you know.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to social studies all over again.
Yeah,
right. I'll give it a 7, almost and a half.
7.2.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7.5. I'll give it a 7.5. Right. I mean, it's a very solid show. Wow. There's a lot of setup in there because and again, this is a problem where it's because I know about a pile of crap that's going to probably come flying out of this because of all the other stuff that I've watched. If I didn't know all the other things, I might have only given it like a 6.5. But
okay, so see, this is where it benefits your scoring of this benefits from your previous knowledge of all this other stuff.
Yeah, see, I'm
Okay.
still convinced that I see lost opportunity with some of the playtime that we've had so far in the show to have, done the homework for the viewer without the viewer having to do the homework.
Right. They do that in wrestling all the time. They do the little
you can retell the story just enough so that you get it.
The
So that
Cliff
you don't
Notes,
have to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of the thing that's kind of bugging me a little bit. And I know we talked about it, but that's for me. That's why, like, I wouldn't go higher than a 7.5. I'd even lean towards a 7, just because I'm being a little picky about it. But
you could break it down to 7.25. I mean,
wow, trying to negotiate a lower score.
That would be there we go.
You're just kind of a jerk, man.
Oh my gosh!
No, it's
wow, how the roles are reversed, because that's the kind of stuff I say.
Yeah, I know.
Tomorrow,
We're gonna have this.
I'm not going to try to convince you to lower your score. But now I probably will. Just
hey, turnabout's fair play, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where it sits for me. It's one of those. I see so much, but I also see why there was such a drop off potentially, and why people aren't watching it, or are getting frustrated by it. So I'm kind of getting annoyed at the things that they're doing that I see as wrong that they could have easily avoided. Crocotortus and goofy things like that.
There's no Crocotortus in this episode.
No, but it's eating into the time that they could have used to tell some of these story components that we should have got.
This episode,
I know.
I'm telling you that you could have cut that 40 some odd minutes with Lieutenant Biscuits, and then you could have had all that story. I mean, you said the same thing earlier. Like you amortize it over the
So notice they're basing their scores off of completely different episodes than this one.
No,
fundamentally flawed. Basing it off of the Lieutenant Biscuits episode or the Crocosaurus has nothing to do with this episode.
No. We're talking about overall things. He's already given his score.
Yeah.
We're done with the episode.
So I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Holy!
Because I think that this was one of my favorite episodes of the entire series so far.
Man. Nerd Fights was the perfect name, because we really
and I'll tell you, because what drug it down for me, the only reason
drug it down to 8.5, that's drug down.
Well, I didn't give it a 10.
Oh my god!
So obviously, what drug it down for me was the obvious shortage of crowds in some of the shots, and the lackluster ground combat. But other than that, a darn near perfect episode. And so if they had done some better ground combat and gotten a few more extras, I think this could have been a flawless Mandalorian episode. But unfortunately, for budgetary reasons or whatever, they just couldn't do it.
Hey man, that's a really good score. I mean, you're giving that a really good score. So.
Yeah, that's a really wild prediction from Thomas.
I know, man. So when you do like a over under, you want to put some money on this?
Well, I don't know. That's an awful low score for me.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking.
I wouldn't take that bet. Now, Danny, I would take that. I would say Danny's giving it a 9 out of 10. Absolutely. That's probably on the low side. Jason 6.
Well, no, I can't go higher than 10, and I gotta leave the 10 for the
finale, but you could say 9.5.
I could. You're totally right. And I totally might.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Jason saying 6 out of 10. I doubt that. I'm going to say probably higher. And me saying 5 out of 10. I doubt that. I'll probably go higher.
Yeah.
So just being fair, I have not hated on this show. I've only given one episode of Picard less than a 5 out of 10. Or actually less than a 6 out of 10.
Ariel.
And so
good. You're enjoying Picard. That makes me so happy. Can you put that up on the screen, please?
No.
It fills my heart with warmth and joy. What? You will deny me of that?
Oops,
Thank
I
you.
would. We're gonna have a war now.
Aw. In fact,
Fight.
Mike, would you read it, Mike? Also, please.
You could pay me to read it.
Oh gosh. Anyway,
Why don't you
I
super
finally got Paramount Plus again and watched Picard season 3 up to date. And
I'm in. Oh, he's drunk with power.
Well, it's not like you
is-
can't hit the unmute button.
Point is, Ariel's
no,
enjoying
I was
it.
gonna say you have all the power because even if you were to do something cute like kick me out, it's like you could immediately go in and deco me and then
Yes, I quick let me
I'm
remove
out.
him. Take away.
I can't even bring myself back. No resurrection for you.
No, no resurrections this time, Loki.
What do you mean there are
in
others?
fairness, I've
Kronos?
only given one episode of Picard less than a 6 out of 10,
Yeah.
and so, and that was what was it, 17 seconds, I think.
Yeah,
Yes,
well, you were
because
the one
the
that really
reason-
set you off was when
Riker, it's 17 seconds when Riker was having his existential crisis. That's
Right.
The one that, yeah.
Because Riker wasn't freaking Riker, and so
Yeah.
and
I disagree
Jean-Luc
with
wasn't
that.
Jean-Luc. I
Yeah,
mean,
look,
the
we don't have to
characters
rehash
are all
that.
wrong on this show.
We don't have to rehash this argument.
yeah.
No,
Well,
they're
don't worry,
Picard
we
is
will tomorrow.
finally. Yeah, put a pin in
That's
that.
a Friday conversation.
We're already going. We're almost 30 minutes over. So
Yeah, and
Well,
even
whose
if we
fault
make
is
up for
that?
technical difficulty, we're basically full now. So
yeah.
It's not my fault that 2 out of the 3. Oh, and Ariel, thank you so much
What?
for the tip.
Super chat.
So Ariel tip $13.37 leet.
Oh wow, Leet.
And says,
Leet lady.
I have enjoyed Picard so far. There, I paid you.
awesome.
Oh, you
Ariel,
rock.
You
Ariel,
you are truly a good friend. Thank you. You have settled this fight. That's the first time for everything.
Yes.
So with that, remember, you are the salt of the earth. I'm the salt of the tracker, and these guys, they're wrong. They're
Live long and prosper, my friend.